This is a bit of entertainment. If you enjoy this production, please subscribe and ring the notification bell. Kindly watch the video to the end. Thanks for the view and enjoy the video. If you want to hear more of this storyline, please tell us in the comments. The Louisiana bayou hummed, a symphony of nature's own making. The gentle rustling of leaves, the distant call of a heron, and the soft lapping of water against the roots of ancient cypress trees created a melody that was both haunting and beautiful. It resonated with an ancient energy, a force that seemed to pulse through the very air, thick with humidity and the scent of earth and water. This energy was a living, breathing entity, a guardian of secrets long forgotten by the modern world. Deep within this vibrant wilderness, where the line between land and water blurred, lived a man known to the locals as Moccasin Mike. His presence was as much a part of the bayou as the towering cypress trees and the ever-present chorus of croaking bullfrogs. He was a man as much a part of the swamp as the cypress knees and the croaking bullfrogs. His skin was tanned and weathered by years spent under the southern sun, and his eyes held the wisdom of someone who had seen the bayou's many moods. Mike possessed an uncanny gift, one that set him apart from the other inhabitants of the bayou. It was said that he could communicate with the creatures of the swamp, understanding their language and their ways. He could command water snakes, summoning them with haunting melodies from his handcrafted wooden flute. This flute, carved from the heartwood of a cypress tree, was his most prized possession, and its music held a power that was both mesmerizing and terrifying. The locals whispered tales of Moccasin Mike, stories that were passed down from generation to generation. They spoke of his ability to control the feared cottonmouths and copperheads, snakes that were as deadly as they were beautiful. They likened him to the Pied Piper of Hamelin, but instead of leading rats away from a town, Mike's melodies called forth the serpents of the swamp. His music could weave through the Spanish moss, coaxing these creatures from their hiding places. However, instead of rats, he controlled the feared cottonmouths and copperheads. These snakes, with their venomous bites and stealthy movements, were feared by many, but under Mike's spell, they became instruments of his will. His tunes could weave through the Spanish moss, coaxing serpents from their murky depths. The music seemed to have a life of its own, a siren call that the snakes could not resist. With a flick of his wrist and a shift in the melody, Mike could direct their movements, turning them into instruments of his will. The snakes would slither and coil, moving in perfect harmony with the notes that flowed from his flute. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the bayou, Mike would often sit on the edge of the water, his flute in hand. The melodies he played at dusk were said to be the most powerful, a blend of sorrow and hope that echoed through the trees and across the water. The locals would watch from a distance, their eyes wide with a mixture of awe and fear. They knew better than to approach him during these moments, for the music was not meant for human ears. It was a conversation between Mike and the spirits of the bayou, a dialogue that had been ongoing for as long as anyone could remember. Children would sit around their elders, listening intently to stories of Moccasin Mike. These tales were filled with wonder and caution, teaching the young ones to respect the power of the bayou and the man who seemed to hold its secrets. Mike lived a solitary life, his only companions the creatures of the swamp. He moved with a grace that belied his rugged appearance, his steps silent and sure. The bayou was his home, and he knew every inch of it, from the deepest pools to the highest branches of the cypress trees. His connection with nature was profound, a bond that went beyond mere coexistence. He was a part of the ecosystem, a guardian of the delicate balance that kept the bayou alive. The animals trusted him, sensing his respect and understanding of their world. In his spare time, Mike would carve flutes from the wood of fallen trees. Each flute was unique, its design inspired by the patterns of the bark and the shape of the branches. The process was meditative, a way for Mike to connect with the spirit of the tree and infuse his music with its essence. On nights when the moon was full, Mike's music would take on an otherworldly quality. The silver light would dance on the water, and the notes from his flute would seem to shimmer in the air. It was during these times that the bayou felt most alive, a place where the veil between worlds was thin. Moccasin Mike's legacy was one of mystery and magic, a testament to the power of nature and the human spirit. His story was woven into the fabric of the bayou, a song that would continue to be sung long after he was gone. The bayou's song, with its ancient energy and vibrant life, would always carry the echoes of Mike's haunting melodies. Mike's talents did not go unnoticed. From a young age, he had an uncanny ability to sense the unseen, to hear the whispers of the wind, and to feel the pulse of the earth beneath his feet. His skills were extraordinary, and they drew the attention of many, but none more so than the Black Witch. The Black Witch, a figure of immense power who resided deep within the bayou, had claimed him. She was a legend, a myth that parents used to scare their children into obedience. But to Mike, she was very real, and her influence was inescapable. She was a formidable presence, feared and respected in equal measure. Her eyes glowed with an eerie light, and her voice could command the very elements. The swamp was her domain, and every creature within it bowed to her will. Her magic was as old as the swamp itself, dark and potent. It was said that she could summon storms, control the beasts of the bayou, and even bend time to her will. Her rituals were shrouded in mystery, performed under the cover of darkness, with only the moon and stars as witnesses.
Mike, your snakes are my messengers, my eyes and ears in the shadows. They slither through the underbrush, silent and unseen, bringing me news from every corner of the swamp. They are my spies and my assassins. They strike without warning, their venom swift and deadly. Through them, I see all, and through you, my will is enforced. You will ensure my desires are carried out. No one defies the Black Witch and lives to tell the tale. You are my enforcer, my hand in the darkness, and you will do as I command.
Mike served as her enforcer. He moved through the shadows, a ghost in the night, carrying out her dark bidding. His loyalty was unquestioned, his resolve unshaken. But Mike harbored a dangerous secret, one that could cost him his life. He had a flicker of light within him, a spark of hope that refused to be extinguished. This flicker of light was a beacon in the encroaching darkness, a reminder of what he once was and what he could be again. It was a dangerous thing to hold on to, but it was all that kept him from being consumed by the Black Witch's shadow. He was in love with the White Witch. She was the antithesis of the Black Witch, a figure of light and hope. Her magic was pure, her heart kind. She was everything the Black Witch was not, and Mike's love for her was his greatest secret and his greatest strength. The White Witch lived in a moonlit glade, a place of beauty and tranquility. Her presence was a balm to Mike's soul, a reminder that there was still good in the world. She knew of his servitude to the Black Witch, but she saw the goodness within him, the potential for redemption. Together they shared stolen moments, brief respites from the darkness that surrounded them. Their love was a fragile thing, a delicate flower blooming in the shadow of the cypress. But it was enough to give Mike hope, enough to keep the darkness at bay. Mike was torn between two worlds, the darkness of the bayou and the light of the glade. He walked a dangerous path, one that could lead to his destruction or his salvation. But as long as he had the White Witch by his side, he knew he could find the strength to fight for his freedom. And so, with a heart full of love and a soul full of hope, Mike prepared to face his fate. The shadows of the cypress loomed large, but the light of the moonlit glade shone brighter. In the end, it was the light that would guide him, the love that would save him. The White Witch was the antithesis of her dark counterpart. She was a beacon of hope in a world often overshadowed by darkness. Her presence alone could light up the darkest corners of the realm, bringing warmth and comfort to those who had long forgotten what it felt like to be safe. Where the Black Witch was shrouded in shadow, a figure of fear and malevolence, the White Witch stood as her polar opposite. The Black Witch's very essence was a void, consuming light and leaving despair in her wake. The White Witch exuded a gentle light, a soft glow that seemed to emanate from her very soul. Her presence was calming, her aura a soothing balm to the weary and the wounded. Her magic was healing and protective, a force that mended broken bodies and spirits alike. She could heal wounds that no ordinary medicine could touch, and her protective spells were legendary, capable of shielding entire villages from harm. This was a stark contrast to the Black Witch's destructive power, which was as terrifying as it was absolute. The Black Witch could summon storms, cause earthquakes, and bring about plagues with a mere flick of her wrist.
Her smile, it's a beacon in my world of shadows and secrets. Every time I see her, it's like a ray of sunshine piercing through the gloom that surrounds me. Her smile is a promise of better days, a reminder that there is still good in this world.
Mike's love for her was a dangerous transgression, a betrayal waiting to be unearthed. In a world where alliances were forged in darkness and betrayal was a common currency, his feelings for the White Witch were a perilous secret. He knew the price of disobedience. The rules were clear, and the consequences of breaking them were severe. Yet, the heart wants what it wants, and Mike's heart yearned for the White Witch. The Black Witch's wrath was as swift as it was brutal. She was known for her merciless punishments, and anyone who dared to defy her faced a fate worse than death. Her retribution was a dark cloud that loomed over Mike, a constant reminder of the danger he was in. Yet he clung to the memory of the White Witch's smile, a memory that was as precious as it was painful. It was a fleeting moment of happiness in a life filled with sorrow and regret. The way her laughter echoed through the trees was a sound that haunted his dreams. It was a melody that played in his mind, a sweet symphony that drowned out the cacophony of his troubled thoughts. It was a beacon in his world of shadows and secrets, a light that guided him through the darkness. Her laughter was a reminder of what he was fighting for, a symbol of the hope that still flickered within him.
Mike, your heart is pure, despite the darkness that surrounds you. You have the strength to overcome the shadows, to rise above the darkness that seeks to consume you.
And so Mike's heart was torn between duty and desire, shadow and light. He was caught in a web of conflicting emotions, a prisoner of his own heart. The path he chose would determine not only his fate, but the fate of the entire realm. Would he succumb to the darkness, or would he find the courage to follow the light? Only time would tell. Bart's Bits has been proud to bring you this production for entertainment purposes. If you have enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel, like the video, and ring the bell. Please let us know what you liked in the comments. Your taking the time to help us is very much appreciated. Hope to see you again soon.